Hello everyone, welcome to Crochet Chronicles. I am Ishwarya and in today's video we will be learning how to block granny squares. If your granny squares are forming a bowl like this or the corners of your squares are curling, then this simple step will help you achieve flat granny squares with a uniform shape and size. It is a simple process, so let's get started. There are many ways of blocking a crochet project. In today's video, we will be talking about granny squares and blocking them using a blocking board. This method is also known as the spray blocking method. So let's see what we need to do. This is a wooden blocking board. In the second half of the video, I will also be sharing a DIY blocking board with all of you. So as you can note, this is the blocking board. These are the metal pins and this is the granny square which we need to block. Firstly, we will arrange these metal pins to form a square so that we can pass the four corners of our granny square through these pins. Now, when we are arranging these pins through these holes, we need to make sure that they are equidistant. For example, I will insert my first pin over here. Then I will count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4. Then again 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, we have formed a square with the help of our pins, and these pins are equidistant from each other, and this ensures that this is a square, that is, all the sides are of the same measurement. Now, one of the main goals of blocking is that we will stretch this square out so that it flattens out. However, if we take our square and we insert the four corners of our square through these four pins like this, then you can see that the square is not stretching out. So this defeats the purpose. So this is the wrong way of doing it. While arranging your pins, make sure that you're forming a square which is big enough so that your granny square stretches out and gets blocked in the right way. So let's undo our mistake. We need to make a bigger square using these pins. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this time we have made a bigger square using our pins. Now let's pass the four corners of our square through these pins. So as you can note, this time the granny square has stretched out, which has helped it achieve this perfect square shape. So while arranging your pins and blocking your square, make sure that your square is stretching gently, but I repeat, it should stretch gently, not a lot. It shouldn't stretch so much that the look of the granny square gets spoiled. It should stretch just slightly, gently. It shouldn't impact your stitches. And make sure that your pins are equally spaced. That is, the distance between two pins should be the same. Because this is a square, all the sides should be of the same measurement. Now once you're satisfied with the placement of your pins and your square is stretching out in the right manner, we will spray it with some water. Now for spraying it with water, you can either buy a spray bottle specially for it, or you can reuse any spray bottle which you already have at home. For example, this one. For this one, I was reusing a face toner bottle, and now I'm reusing this bottle which had some hair serum in it. So fill a spray bottle with plain regular water, nothing special, just water. Now we will take it and we will spray our granny square with water. Make sure that it gets damp. Make sure that you have sprayed it uniformly and the granny square is damp. I repeat, it should just be damp, not dripping wet, just damp. If in the process some water has come onto your square, then you can just gently wipe it. This will ensure that your blocking board lasts longer and doesn't get spoiled. And now we will let it dry. And once the square has dried, we will take it out. And this is all that is to this process of spray blocking. Now I will share the square with you once it has dried, and we will take it out from these pins together. Till then, let's note a few more examples. Now in this case, there is a single square, but blocking becomes all the more important when we are making a number of squares for a project, be it a bag, a cardigan, cardigan, a muffler or a blanket. When we are making a number of squares for the same project, then we need to ensure that all our squares are in a uniform square shape and have the same size before we start joining them. And it is blocking that helps us make sure that the dimensions of all our squares are the same and we have uniform squares. This makes the joining process easier and our project turns out polished. The process remains the same whether we are blocking a single square or multiple. So we have arranged our pins to make a square. We have made sure that these pins are equally spaced or equidistant. That is, the distance between two pins is the same on all four sides. Now we will take our square and we will pass it through these pins. Make sure that it has stretched out like this. Then we will take our spray bottle and spray our granny square with water all around. Make sure that it's damp. Then we will take our next square and we will place it on top of the square. That is, we will stack all our squares on top of each other. Like this. Again, we will spray it with water. I repeat, it just needs to be damp, not wet. Like this. Then on to the next square. Stretch it gently if required and spray it with water. And like this, you can continue stacking square upon square according to your requirement. Now we let these squares dry. Until then, I will share a DIY method with all of you. Now, as you can see, this square is curling up or is forming a bowl. Let's block this square using a DIY blocking board. For a DIY blocking board, you will require a cardboard box and some wooden sticks. In my case, I am using these chopsticks which we get when we order some Chinese food. I would recommend that when you're choosing a cardboard box, make sure that it's a bit stiff and sturdy and not very flimsy. So what I did first was I gently flattened out my granny square and measured it, and then I marked 4 dots to make the 4 corners of my square. And then using a pair of scissors, I made holes on those 4 dots. When I measured my square, it was about 7 centimeter, but I have made these holes or made the square according to the measurements 7.5 centimeter by 7.5 centimeter, so that the square stretches out when we block it. Now we will take our chopsticks and insert them into these holes. I repeat, when I measured the square in this curled form, it was about 7 centimeter by 7 centimeter, but the square which I have made over here is 7.5 centimeter by 7.5. So make a slightly bigger square for blocking to ensure that your square stretches out. While making the holes for your chopsticks, make sure that you don't make very big holes, otherwise the chopsticks will be loose in that hole and your hole arrangement can topple and not stand straight. Now we will take our square and pass the 4 corners of our square through these chopsticks. And now, after placing your square, you can spray it with water. And now we will wait for it to dry. Because this is a DIY arrangement, it is not as sturdy as a wooden blocking board. So it is possible that if you place too many granny squares in the same stack, then your DIY board will not be able to take the weight of your squares and these sticks can start leaning inwards, which will defeat the purpose. Also, if you make new squares with different dimensions, then you would have to make another blocking board for them separately. If you're someone who doesn't make a lot of granny squares or makes granny squares in just one design, for example a classic granny square, or if you make similar size granny square and you don't need different dimensions for blocking every time, then I think this DIY board is a good option for you. But if you're someone who makes granny squares in a lot of different varieties, if you like experimenting with different sizes and designs, or if you often make a lot of different projects by joining granny squares, then I would recommend that you invest in a blocking board. Now, if you're in a situation that you neither have a blocking board nor can you make a DIY blocking board, then I would recommend that lay your square flat on a surface, gently stretch it and shape it from all 4 corners. Do this gently and then Place some weight on top of it like 2 to 3 books and leave it like that for some time, at least for a few hours. And that will also help flatten the square. However, this is just a temporary solution or a quick fix. I would still recommend that you either block it using a DIY blocking board or a wooden board. Now let's wait for our squares to dry out completely and see the difference that blocking makes. Our squares have dried now. Let's take them out. You can clearly note the difference in the shape of these squares after we have blocked them. The sides are straight and the square shape looks so much more neat and well defined. And that is why it is important to block your squares. It helps set the shape. It also flattens the squares, especially any curled corners. It evens out the stitches, helps the stitches relax and settle into their final shape. And it also helps reduce the tightness in your stitches. And all of this ensures that you have a neat and polished looking project. As mentioned before, it also helps ensure that all the squares are of the same size for a particular project. It prevents the sides or the edges from turning out wonky or crooked. It ensures that they are straight, which is important for neat joining and a neat project. So I repeat, blocking is a very important step of crocheting. Don't forget to block your squares after completing them. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and if you did, then please like and hype this video, and please let me know in the comments if you would like to know more about blocking, different blocking processes depending on different projects. If you would like to learn more about crochet and make cute projects, then please subscribe to my channel and please hit the bell icon so that every time I post a new video, you get notified. Till then, happy crocheting. See you soon. Bye.